If you're curious how the Student Aid Index SAI is calculated, you can refer to the Federal Student Aid Handbook for detailed explanation. However, it's very complex. Here's the general breakdown. For dependent students, which includes most undergraduates, the formula primarily considers parents' income and assets, as well as the student's income and assets. The parent income is adjusted by certain offsets and family allowances. The parent assets, after deducting asset protection allowances, are multiplied by 12% to determine the contribution from assets. So basically, 12% of parents' assets count towards what the family is expected to pay for college. Then, parents' income and assets are combined and matched to a table to figure out part of the SAI. Now, for the student contribution, we do the same thing, but with much higher assessment rates. The student income, starting with the AGI, is adjusted with some offsets and allowances, and then it's assessed at 50%. The student assets are combined and assessed at 20%, which is way higher than the 12% for the parents. The two student portions are added together, then combined with the parent contribution to finally determine the final SAI. Since you can see that the parents' assets are only assessed at 12%, while the student income is hit at 50% and assets at 20%, it really matters whose name certain accounts are in when filing out the FAFSA. Let's go through an example. We have a family of 4 with parents who filed jointly, reporting an adjusted gross income AGI of $122,000 on their tax return. We add $250 in tax-exempt interest. Now let's list our allowable income offsets. The only subtraction available in this case is an education credit of $2,500. So the adjusted parents' income becomes $119,750. Next, we can subtract income allowances. First, our parents pay $10,000 in federal income tax. They can also subtract standard income protection allowance, which per table A2 for a family of 4 is $43,870. Finally, the parents also qualify for the employment expense allowance, which is lesser of 35% of combined income or $4,890. So in our case, the total allowances for our parents amounted to $58,760, which we subtract from the $119,750 in total parent income. This results in a parent available income of $60,990. But we're not done yet. Now let's calculate the parent contribution from assets. This family has $13,000 in cash, checking, and savings, and $225,000 in net investments. The amount of net business income that is included is based on table A3. If our parents' net business income is $35,000, let's say, then 40% of that is included in our net assets. This brings the total net worth of parents' assets to $252,000. Normally, we can also subtract asset protection allowance from table A4, but for 2025-2026 FAFSA, it is 0. So we multiply the net worth of $252,000 by the asset conversion rate of 12%, which gives us $30,240. Now we add the parent available income and the parent contribution from asset, which gives us a total parent contribution of $91,230. However, this is not the final amount considered for SAI. We reference this amount in Table A5. Since the amount exceeds $42,901, we take $11,603 and add 47% of the amount over $42,901, which results in $34,318, which is the parent contribution toward SAI. Now let's move on to the student calculation. We start with the student's AGI from their tax return, which in this case is $15,000. The student can subtract certain offsets, such as an education credit of $1,000. Each student also received an income protection allowance of $11,510 for the 2025-2026 FAFSA year. This is subtracted from the total student income, leaving $2,490 in student available income. Since 50% is used as student income factor, the student contribution from income is $1,245. Finally, let's take a look at the student's asset. The student has $2,000 in cash, checking, and savings, and $4,000 in net current investments. Similarly as with the parents, if the student has $500 in net worth from a small business, it is referenced in Table A3, and 40% of it is used for our calculation, which comes to $200. This brings the total student net worth of $6,200. 20% of that amount is factored towards the SAI calculations, bringing the student contribution from assets to $1,240. Now we're ready to calculate the final SAI. We add the parent contribution of $34,318, the student contribution from income of $1,245, and the student contribution from assets of $1,240, to give us a student aid index of 36,803. The SAI number reported by FAFSA doesn't have a dollar sign. It's just listed as a number, as an index. However, since it's calculated based on income and asset in dollars, most people naturally interpret it as a dollar amount. But it is not the amount that's required by the family to pay. It's just being used by the colleges to determine financial aid. In my opinion, SAI calculation is complicated, and FAFSA really should show a breakdown of the SAI calculation so families don't have to just trust the number they get. Thanks so much for watching and good luck!